All right, what up, YouTube and Who That Nation? Welcome back to No Cap, No Filter Saints. I'm your host, Marley G, and we're going to talk about what I think the rookies could do to produce in this game versus the Packers. Next man up mentality for the suspensions, for the injuries, things of that nature. And we're going to go ahead on and give Dennis Allen his flowers, man. We're going to talk a little bit about Dennis Allen. We really hopped on him last year. We said he was in over his head. He looks like a deer in headlights. Man, we're going to get a man his credit when credit is due. There's no cap, no filter Saints, and we're going to keep it real. It ain't going to be no capping what we thinking over here. There ain't going to be no filtering what we thinking over here. We're going to just, give the just due for every situation, positive or negative. So without further ado, let's go ahead on and get into these rookies that I think could make an impact, on this Packers game and, what I think they could bring to the table. First, let's get to Kendre Miller. I think Who That Nation, it's Miller time. I think there's gonna be a slogan for him. The writings is right on the wall for this slogan. And I think it's time for some Miller time. The last time that we just had a good back be a good compliment to Alvin Kamara was Mark Ingram in his prime. I was hoping that Jamal Williams could be that good back this year, but man, them injuries, bro, they attacking us, so hopefully he get back on the field soon with the hamstring. This actually could have been a revenge game for Jamal Williams and Taysom Hill because both came from the Packers, and they separate their ways from the Packers, and they both in New Orleans now. So I wanted it like a revenge game, and then what his name is, Jamal. He's very familiar with the Packers because he used to play for the Lions, so he had to play them twice a year anyway. So yeah, man, I wanted the BYU connection to take place up in Lambeau Field. Jamal and Taysom went to BYU, and I really wanted that, bro. I wanted to see that. But, I think Taysom's still going to eat. But, man, out of focus just going to go to Kendre Miller and I guess Tony Jones Jr. So I think it's going to be Taysom, Kendre, and Tony, that three-headed monster. I'm not sure who's going to get the most carries out of Tony and Kendre, but it's going to be interesting to see. But as far as Kendre, man, he's behind the eight ball. With camp, he's, had injuries. He already came into the draft, with an injury. That's why TCU, ain't had the type of show out they was gonna have in that championship game because Kendre Miller ain't play. A lot of the talking points was to Johnston and the quarterback for TCU, but man, Kendre Miller, he was the real battering ram for that offense. He really was the playmaker. So everybody wants to see what he can bring to the table. I really think he reminds me of Mark Ingram. A guy that's could run in between the tackles, a guy that could take it outside the tackles. But I think he has a level to his game with the passing game that we got to see. Sure, I'm ready to see it, man. The guy was for full practice. He said, Dennis Allen said that he could have went last week, but just for precautionary measures, they set him out, and against that Panthers front, I think that was a good idea because, they still had Jamal Williams to start the game, and, I think the guys are full go, and I'm very excited to see what he could do because everybody was just, on that bandwagon for Kendre Miller when he said what he said about Alvin Kamara, I'm coming for the number one spot. Some people took it as kind of disrespectful to the veteran, but other people like me, I say, man, more competition the better. But once we seen that video where Alvin Kamara was in practice, granted Kendre Miller was hurt, but you still seen that Alvin Kamara still got it, man. This man hasn't lost it at all. And I don't understand why people think Alvin Kamara lost it. The man has been misused. The offensive line is not making no type of holes for the man. And, when it's just easy to key on Alvin Kamara when your quarterback one injured and both of your wide receivers injured, and that's just the only focal point of the offense. It's real easy to stop when it's just solely the only focal point of the offense. So, man, hopefully this year, all those people who are saying Kamara's washed and all this and all that, man, they could just cut all that out, man. Look at Christian McCaffrey in the 49ers. I feel like Christian McCaffrey Alvin Kamara, one and one. I just think Christian McCaffrey a little bit more faster, got a more acceleration to him, but I think Alvin Kamara got a little bit more balance with him. But other than that, both of them are very good backs, man. I think personally they still the two best two backs in the league. That's just me personally. But yeah, man, I'm really excited to see what Kendrick Miller could bring to the team, and that's on the offense side of the ball. But on the defense side of the ball, they got Jordan Howden. I'm really curious to see what D8, does with him. I want to see if, he's going to be splitting reps with Lonnie Johnson, or is he going to be real versatile? Like, man, we didn't bring P.J. Williams back for a reason. And, I guess this guy was a part of that reason. They really like what they seen out of him, because P.J. kept getting brought back every year. P.J. was like the defensive version of Traquan Smith. You know what I'm saying? He was the defense version of Traquan Smith. But to me, I kind of like P.J. Play as of recent years, And as far as the offense, getting it together, I think that hopefully this week they can get it together. Like, they playing up in grass. They playing in some good weather in Green Bay. It's not going to be cold, so we catch them at the right time. And on top of that, you got to think, man, the Saints offense is very complex. Like, even Emmanuel Sanders said that, like, it's just so many variations of rotations and, the route trees and the concepts and the verbal language. And, that is not going to happen overnight with that nation. It's not, this is a very complex offense, and it's a reason why Sean was just so particular on his quarterbacks. So, man, I feel like, you got to look at the Rams. Look at the Rams Super Bowl run. Matt Stafford, this man had led the league in interceptions, and they still won a Super Bowl. They just figured it out. You're gonna have some kinks, you know what I'm saying, but you still gotta, overcome things, in other places. Look at the Buccaneers when they went to the Super Bowl with Tom. Mind you, both of these new quarterbacks in both systems on their first year. And I'm not saying we're going to go to the Super Bowl, but I am saying that, it's still early. But look at Tom Brady, first year. They kind of started off rocky. They was winning, they was losing, they winning, they was losing. Then they started like a little skid of losing. And they were just wondering, like, man, it's not going right. And they were just bombs away. And that was getting, defenses just knowing what to do, knowing exactly how to stop it, pinning their ears back and go and get time. And then they just changed up the offense, started running the ball more. And, they ain't never looked back ever since. They started peaking at the right time, and they got hot, and they just rolled through the playoffs, and they won that Super Bowl. Now, we all know they would have probably lost to the Saints if that Jarek fumble, would have never happened. But that's neither here nor there. At the end of the day, they won the Super Bowl, and, at the end of the day, it took time. They peaked at the right time. Like, you don't want to see your team peaking fast, and then, like, how many teams we see peak fast and they just get red hot, then all of a sudden they just have a losing skid. Like, teams just figure them out, and then all of a sudden it's just, they peaked too fast, and then from that point on it's just going low. You want to peak at the right time. Like, you want to peak after your bye week, and just, especially if your bye week is towards the end of the schedule or middle of the schedule, you want to be peaking around week 8, week 9, and then, hopefully that you catch that fire, and that just rolls over to the playoffs. Like, I feel like this offense is real good. Like, you can't tell me that this offense can't figure it out. If Eli Manning won 2 with his offense, Nick Foles won 1 with that offense, and Matt Stafford won 1 with that offense. Like, you can't tell me that. The only problem is the offensive line, and that's the difference, bro. Penning, like I said, he should have been a right tackle, and Ramczyk should have been a left tackle. That's just me. That's just my opinion, And we should have just figured it out from there. If Ram don't want to play left tackle, then he's just going to have to deal with it. There's plenty of other people who just have to deal with it. Alontae Taylor, he having to deal with it playing slot. So, man, you usually got to figure it out and deal with it, But, yeah, man, as far as us being just a contender, like I say, I still think we're the 4th best team in the NFC. I still think Dallas and, 49ers and Philly, they're ahead of us just because the offensive line and the, continuity. Those quarterbacks been in the offense already. They have, They have a repertoire with the players, so they have a chemistry with the wide receivers and their playmakers. So it ain't gonna happen overnight. And that's another team, the 49ers, after they got Christian McCaffrey, they started scoring way more points. We ain't got Alvin Kamara. So once we get Alvin Kamara, you gotta take that into, consideration too. So yeah, man, you gotta look at all different things. Everything is full of context. But another defensive rookie that bring some noise to the team and bring some production is Isaiah Foskey. As good as Granderson doing, we do rotations on our defensive lines. So hopefully he can make a play here and there. And I don't think that Turner was going to get the extension anyway, especially after what we did to T-Rex. I don't think he was going to get the extension, and we didn't extend Davenport, so I don't think he was going to get it because he just too injured. I think he could have turned the corner this year, but the injury was just it was almost like everybody just kind of knew it was just a matter of time. But yeah, man. So Foskey, Howden, and Kendre Miller, we got to see what these guys can bring to the table. And before I get up out of here, let me go ahead on and give Dennis Allen his flowers, man. Do I think that he could lead us, to a Super Bowl as a head coach? Because as a defensive coordinator, the man is a genius. But as a head coach, that remains to be seen. I really think Pete Carmichael need to pick it up because I'm still mad at that 3rd and 2 play that he called. But other than that, the way he built this team, from Sean's foundation to, doing it his way, I really like what he's done. The man could build a team. You gotta realize when he was with the Raiders, they ain't even have a 1st round pick, and that's just a dump to fire organization. So all this makes a difference. But as far as defense, the man is, I think he don't get enough credit. We talk about all these offensive guru coaches like Andy Reid and Sean Payton, and we talk about defensive gurus like Bill Belichick and, all these guys, but we got to give Dennis Allen some more credit. I just think he's not in the right media. He just in a small media market. If Dennis Allen was somewhere else like the Cowboys, he'll be getting that credit like Dan Quinn is getting, probably even more. Because, man, we ain't been giving up. We just had some record, where we had went consecutive amount of games with not letting the team get 20 points scored on us. Man, how much can the defense be doing out there? The offense got to get it together. Now, I know a lot of the time the offense was unhealthy, but this year, we pretty healthy. We healthy enough to get points on the board. We just got to cash in on that red zone, and that offensive line just got to be a little bit more stout. But, yeah, man. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. Dare I say that if we lose Dennis Allen, we going to take a step back? If we get another coach and that coach do his thing, will our defense still look the same? Because scheme matters. You can have the players, but scheme matters as well. A lot of people think in Philly, they took a hit on defense because their defensive coordinator left. Man, scheme matters. People thinking that the Chiefs took a hit, when Eric Bieniemy left because, Eric Bieniemy was there last year, but, now, they saying the offense took a hit. Now, the first game they didn't have Kelsey. The second game, they did, but they still think the offense ain't looking like how it was looking. But maybe that's just because it's the beginning of the season, So, yeah, man, scheme matters. So, man, that's why I want DA to pan out, because if he pans out, we ain't got to go be looking for no head coach, and hoping that we get it right, and we could just, keep continuity going. And, I know that continuity word, I know you don't want to hear that because we heard that last year and we see how last year happened. But, at the end of the day, if we lose Dennis Allen, I think we're going to take a hit on the defensive side at least. And, we can't really have that, because at the end of the day, say what you want, the man could draft DB. So I expect Jordan Howden to go out there and do his thing, So, yeah, man, as far as drafting guys and all that, look at Brian Brzee. Man, the man know what he's doing. So I'm going to go ahead on and give a man his flowers, give him his credit. And I hope we have a good season and, we could just see what things could go and we could just build upon a successful season, whether we go all the way or not. But, You know, everything is looking like it should be a successful season for us. The offense just need to pick it up, you know, and that's going to all be on Derek Carr, the offensive line, and Pete Carmichael. And I guess the offensive line coach as well. But yeah, man, we're looking pretty good right now. Hopefully we have a 3-0. Get Alvin Kamara back for the Bucks game. If we could get him back and have some momentum going 4-0, man, we like it ain't gonna be much to complain about, bro. It ain't gonna be much to complain about, you know. But I want to know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Like, you know, how y'all feeling about these three rookies, Foskey, Howden, and Miller, and what y'all think they could bring to the team. And does Dennis Allen deserve his flowers? Or you need to see more? You know, even with all his attributes that he gave to us on defense, do you need to see more, you know, as a head coach? Let me know in the comment section down below.